Morning. El Jefe here. Wanted to give you a little update on the sunflower field. If you're not aware of it, here in North Carolina, we're on the East Coast, just north of Wilmington. The weather pattern has changed. We're in a tropical weather pattern. The last 3 days, we've gotten here in the Burgaw area about 5.5 inches of rain. And I'm going to kind of show you a little bit this morning what happens when you get these storms with rain and a little bit of wind, and the sunflowers are matured. The heads are really heavy and they're actually leaning downwards, and when the soil gets saturated and stuff, the plant gets unbalanced. And so I'm going to flip you around here. We are at field 2 here, the bottom. If you notice here on this one corner, this is kind of a low end of the field, and there's some water standing here from the rain we got yesterday evening and last night. These flowers, the soil has gotten real saturated, wet and loose, and these flowers are so heavy with their heads, they've kind of leaned over. So you kind of hate to see this, but there's not much you can do about it. We haven't had a whole lot of wind associated with these storms, just kind of torrential downpours, you know. And this bottom end of the field, everything grades this way, so this end is really wet right now. And you can see these larger sunflowers falling over. Electric fence is holding up a few of them, but you know, they're leaning a little bit, but you know, it's not all the way across the field. It's mainly just down on this lower end. And as you look at this sunflower here, you can tell that the birds have just about ate all the seeds out of that plant anyway. So we have some doves using the field already. The red-winged blackbirds, mockingbirds, and what I call the boat-tailed grackle, which is a little larger of the blackbird family, I guess. They're in here, and they're definitely starting to feed because these heads are loaded up. So as you can see, I just wanted to give you a short kind of walkthrough this morning of this lower end. And we had some beautiful sunflowers, some big heads. I mean, if you look at that one right there, and if I had to guess, that head is around 10 inches or better across. But like I said, they're very heavy right now, and any heavy rain, you know, which makes their stems unstable. As you can see right there, you see the stem where it's just pulled out of the ground. So for the most part, I guess, looking at that root ball, you know, sunflowers don't really extend out their roots very far. They're fairly compact, and that makes them more susceptible to wind and having the chances of them getting blown over. That's another example right there. You see that big head right there in front of you. You can see where the blooms and the seeds are down towards the center, but that upper section, you can see where the birds have just started picking all the seeds out of it. It's pretty interesting. But overall, the smaller sunflowers with decent heads on them, they're not falling as bad. They're not quite as unbalanced. There's a Mr. Red-winged blackbird right there buzzing around. But anyway, you know, most of the field's in good shape. We have a little bit of loss down here on the bottom, and the ones that are up off the ground a little bit that have fallen will still, you know, there's a couple birds, a couple morning doves there getting up. They'll still, the seed will still be utilized. However, the heads that are laying face down into the mud, those will start to germinate and rot. So you know, it kind of leaves a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, but there's not much you can do about it. You know, I'm not gonna go out there and try to wedge the heads up and stand them up and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of the normal process, the things you deal with. Even though I'm not a farmer for my main job, but you know, farmers run through this and go through these trials and tribulations all the time, and I'm just I look at it as just being blessed at what I am gonna have, and the rest of it you just kind of let her go. It's out of your control. But anyway, this El Jefe, just wanted to give you a little short video this morning, kind of showing you what we go through here in southeastern North Carolina. You know, we go from 2 months of a pretty severe drought, you know, maybe 1.5 inches of rain over a 2-month period, and then in 3 days we get almost 6 inches, and in places probably have exceeded that. But that's kind of the life we live here. We're susceptible to these tropical weather patterns coming up off the Atlantic Ocean this time of year. Water's in the 80s, and you get that onshore flow and high temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, and that's just a recipe for thunderstorms and torrential downpours. There's a silver lining though. Looks like long range towards next weekend. The 7 to 10 day forecast is there's going to be some cooler air working down. Looks like by next weekend we're going to be in the lower 80s, and hopefully the dew point will drop a little bit. This morning's about 75. It's been anywhere from 75 to darn near 80 for the last week. So I don't know if you're know much about dew points, but that's pretty soggy around. It's been a hot, wet week for me at work for sure. Well, this El Jefe, I appreciate you watching my video this morning. Remember to let people know what we're doing, what we're showing, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll get you a new video in the coming week or so. Maybe I'll show you, you know, the kind of feed and stuff I use in my bait station, or what I call my food trough in my food plot. But we'll check back in with you in, you know, a few days, and just remember that this is all God's creation, and just be blessed to be a steward of it and do the best we can to leave it better than we found it. In your name, you know, we pray to the Lord above. So this El Jefe, have a good morning, enjoy your weekend, and El Jefe out.